Good afternoon, automotive enthusiasts. It's Peter, your Audi S3, coming at you once again with another DIY. So today's group that we're going to be focusing on is going to be the CT200h group. And what I have entailed is another dash cam install. BlackVue once again was kind enough to send me their DR900S 2-channel dash cam for the install on the CT200. So we're going to tackle that project. Now, I have already essentially started taking apart my CT in preparation of today's project. I will warn you guys, if you are in the least not inclined to kind of tackle this project, I would not recommend it. This is definitely going to be a pretty challenging project to do. So far, I've had to remove quite a few panels, and the most, if you will, the most stressful part of the install is going to be routing the wires around your curtain airbags. So today I'm taking a little more of my time, and we're going to route the cabling completely proper. So in the event that your curtain airbags do deploy, they're actually going to go out the way they should, and the wiring is actually going to be tucked behind the airbags, so it's going to be a completely safe install. I'm going to just show certain aspects of the install of the things that you're going to have to remove to get to it. So I have kind of cheated and jumped ahead so that I can show you. So without further ado, my friends, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things that you do have to remove in preparation of this install. So for this part of the install, this is going to be your hatch area, and what makes it complicated is you have to mount your camera up here, and you have to route wiring through here to get up here. So what I have essentially done is I took apart this piece here, and it's just held in, as you can tell, by 4 clips. Essentially all you do is just remove it and it comes right off, and then it will expose kind of the wiring or the route that you're going to have to take. So you guys can probably see what I did here was I removed this grommet and decided that this will be the side that I'm going to run the rear camera wiring through. So you've got to essentially snake it through here, and I have removed this weather stripping here by pulling it down, and there is going to be 3 little plastic clips underneath here that you're going to pull out, and what that does is it allows you to pull this headliner down, and then you can actually access the holes through here or through here, whichever you decide that you want to go. And again, looking at the wires, I believe this side is going to be the side that has more of the room. So again, the dash cam will mount here. You're going to run the wiring in through here, and then into the headliner. So from here, you should be able to run the wiring from here all the way to the very front of the headliner. So we will come back to this, but for now, let's go ahead and kind of jump forward, and I'll show you the headliner section. Okay, this is going to be your rear driver's side here, and as again you guys can tell, I removed the weather stripping, and what that does is it allows me to have access to the headliner. However, before you do that, here is the diagram to your handle, and the way that you want to remove it is obviously you want to remove these plastic covers, and then from there there's a little clip that you'll push in like this, and what it does is it allows you to pull the handle away from the chassis of the vehicle. There are literally no bolts holding it, just these 2. So you remove these items here, and again it allows you access to the headliner. Now you can pull this down a little bit to route your wire from here back to the hatch area. So this is going to be the removal and access of your headliner. Now we're actually situated at the driver's side, and again, you guys have seen I've disassembled a few items. The first thing that you're going to remove is this is going to be your sill, and you want to kind of pop it off. You'll take a look here and you'll see that there are actually 4 clips. I managed to break one off accidentally that was still embedded in the chassis. So 3 will still hold it, but just be careful when you remove this sill here. And then from there, you're going to remove the side piece here that allows you access to the wiring. Now, if you are installing a battery pack like I am doing, this is going to be your BlackVue B124X. I'm putting it underneath the seat, so that's why you guys are seeing that I want to remove this so I can run my wiring to the battery pack underneath the seat. So essentially all I did was just pull out these wires, undo these clips, and it allows me to release the carpet from these purple clips down here. So not too complicated at all. Again, over here is where you are going to see all of the wiring components, and that you can run all the wiring over here. So this part here is going to be the routing of your wiring from the center of your dash. So if you take a look at here, you're going to see your airbag. And the way that I had ran it before, and I believe most installation shops may end up doing it just because it's easier, is they will actually route the wire like this over the airbag. And I believe that's actually the improper way to do it, because if it deploys, you have your airbag, the wiring actually is covering the airbag, so you don't want it. So what I'm going to do here is from the center of my windshield where I'm going to mount the camera, I'm going to run it through the very inside of the headliner, and then I am actually going to route it on the outside of the airbag, so when it does deploy, it deploys away from the wiring, which would be proper. So you're actually going to run it on the outside and then down this sill here, so that way it stays away from the airbag. And I will do my best to take some pictures to show you guys. Alright guys, so I finally was able to get the wiring from the headliner through this rubber grommet, and let me tell you, that is very tough to do. And my secret is I somewhat cheated and cut a very small slit here and here, and what I did was I ran the wiring from here through the little slit that I made, pull it out, and then I just went in back again, and then it went out this slit, and then from here I just went back in. Now, does that kind of deteriorate this to the point where it's going to leak? In all honesty, I don't believe so. But again, there was no way for me to really route anything through here and get this large diameter connection through there. So again, I had to cheat, but I was able to get it through. Okay guys, so I went ahead and fitted the green piece back, put this grommet back in, as well as this one, and then I ran the wiring through here, right on up to the dash cam, And now what I'll go ahead and do is I'll put that panel that was back on here, and it will cover this whole area up. What I did here was fish my long zip tie from the rear driver's side to the rear hatch liner. Then I simply taped the wiring to the end and pulled it through. Alright guys, so here you see a couple of wires that I have run through the headliner. This one right here is actually going to be from the rear dash cam, and that one we want to run more or less on the inside or toward the middle of the headliner so that it stays away from the curtain airbags. Now this wire here is the power wire that is going to, this end here goes to power, or I should say power from the car. This here is going to go to the connection of the dash cam main unit. And I'm going to try to go ahead and come up here and show you guys. What I essentially did was, if you can see, I went on the external side of the curtain airbag. That is going to be the proper way to do it, because again, as the airbag deploys, it comes out, it's going to essentially come down like that and protect you. A lot of people, and I'm guilty of doing this the last time, here is the A pillar. What a lot of people will do is they'll run it from this side, they'll cross over the A pillar, and then they'll go ahead and essentially run it down the outside portion of the A pillar. That is going to be the incorrect way to do it, because again, as your side curtain airbag deploys, you've got literally a cable that's running across that could block it. So I took a little more of my time to do it correctly this time around. Okay guys, so we managed to fish both the power as well as the rear camera wire through the headliner in the very front. So from here, what we'll go ahead and do is, let's kind of just move it here. There's my dash cam that I mounted on the windshield. We're going to go ahead and hook it up from essentially this side here, and then my wire is going to go around here. I'll put a couple of little connections that will secure the wire, and then we'll tuck it up underneath the headliner, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Alright, for this portion here, we went ahead and routed the wires. As you can tell, I routed it essentially right up the side of my rear view mirror into the headliner, and we're going to go all the way across here, essentially doing the same thing. I ran it across the headliner, and the beauty of this here is, because I know I did it right, we ran the wiring essentially through like this here, as opposed to running across the side curtain airbag. So that definitely would not be the way to do it. So that's how you run these wires through. Again, kind of going right back, right to the dash cam. So now we come to the wiring part of the installation, and this is for you guys who want to hardwire the car, or I'm sorry, hardwire the dash cam into the car's battery system. So BlackVue gives you kind of this little adapter here that hooks on to the battery pack. Again, I'm going to go ahead and look underneath here where there are many fuses from a fuse box. I pulled the lid off, and we're just kind of try to pick. Now when you are hard wiring, you want to choose one that has power when it's on and power off when the vehicle is off. So my guess is we're going to take a look at we'll just use the radio, because without the key, the radio will not start. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'll hook this unit up to it, There's going to be 2 fuses that give it power, and from there I'll see if it works with the battery pack or not. This next part is going to be for you who want to install an external battery pack like the B124X that I have. So this is going to be underneath, and there is a very fair share of space. This is going to be the cross member brace here that secures the structural integrity of the car, and as you can tell down there is quite a bit of space to run some wiring. So I am going to go ahead and run my wiring from over there underneath through here, and it's going to be a little difficult to see, but here there's actually a little flap in the carpet that I can run all of the cabling out to and then put my battery pack right here. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick, but I did want to show you guys the level of space that you have, as well as some of the larger holes down here that you can run wiring through. I fired up the car and the BlackVue is working as expected, so perfect. The last thing that I'm going to go ahead and do now, there you see my battery, and we're going to go ahead and just essentially put it underneath the seat and neatly kind of button everything up and call it a day for this DIY install on the BlackVue dash cam, as well as the BlackVue B125X battery pack. So now that we are finished with the install of the BlackVue DR900S dash cam in the CT200, I did want to go ahead and just cover some final thoughts with you guys about the install itself. First thing is, it wasn't an overly complicated install, specifically if you are looking just to install the very front dash cam. That in itself is pretty easy to do. The most crucial part of that specific part of the install is trying to avoid running that cable across the very front A-pillar side curtain airbag. Definitely don't want to do that. So I highly recommend that either you run it down the side of the A-pillar and down into the dash, or kind of do what I did, and that's run it through the headliner and then up and over and underneath and down the side A-pillar to get access to power. So you can definitely do it that way. Now for guys that are looking to do the front and the rear, that definitely is going to be a little more complicated and a little cumbersome, because you do have to get access to the rear hatch, and you guys saw how tough it was to essentially get the wiring through the rubber grommet. So you could either do it that way or another way if you choose. Overall, very nice setup. Install is completely doable. Just got to be careful with, again, the airbag. Now if you guys have any questions or concerns about the install, feel free to drop me some feedback below. Let me know your comments or some questions that you might have, and I'll do my very best to either correct a mistake that I may have made or answer a question that you guys may have. As usual, automotive enthusiast, thanks for supporting my channel and watching another DIY. This is going to be Peter, your Audi S3 fanatic, signing off until the next time, my friends.